You grew up with these names: Subway, McDonald's, Chipotle. You thought they were safe, cheap, and always there. But behind the glowing signs and friendly slogans, something dark has been festering. Former employees have leaked photos of moldy meat, rats in kitchens, and chicken stored on restroom floors. In 2024 alone, over 1,700 fast food-related food poisoning cases were reported, a 34% increase compared to 2022 according to the CDC. These aren't just numbers, but also hospital visits and thousands of USA emergency room bills that can destroy a family already living paycheck to paycheck. All this, while you kept buying what you thought was a dollar menu blessing. They smiled at us, then served mold. This is the Downturn Report, where the truth gets personal. And today, we will reveal the top 10 fast food chains that are by far the worst in 2025. Stick with us, because number 3 will make you regret every penny you have spent on them. Number 1, Subway. Have you ever doubted that the sandwich you thought was saving your life is actually destroying it in silence? We are talking about Subway. Back in the day, it was the meal you could count on. Cheap, filling, fast. You'd get off your shift, slide into a booth, and for just $5 you could have something warm in your stomach. A sandwich felt like a small win in those good old days. And for millions of middle-class or low-income Americans, it was the unofficial lunchroom of broke dreamers trying to survive big cities. But what if every time you trusted that sandwich, it betrayed you, according to QSR magazine? Subway still operates over 20,000 stores across the US and serves over 5.3 million customers daily. That's nearly 2 billion meals a year. Yet behind that convenience meal, something darker brews. In 2017, a CBC Marketplace investigation revealed that Subway's chicken strips contained just 50% real meat. The rest was filler, mostly soy. The chain denied it. But then came 2021 when the New York Times ran DNA tests on Subway's famous tuna sub. Not a trace of tuna. In 2022, a New York woman cracked her tooth on what turned out to be melted plastic inside her sandwich. And in 2023, health inspectors in California uncovered 112 Subway outlets failing cold storage safety standards. Some stores use the same knife to slice raw chicken and vegetables without washing it. Then in 2024, a norovirus outbreak in Michigan linked to Subway left over 45 people hospitalized. This isn't a one-time slip-up. It's a pattern rooted in a business model that favors scale over safety. Subway's vast franchising system makes it nearly impossible to enforce consistent quality. Owners, under crushing pressure to stay profitable, resort to shortcuts, cheaper ingredients, skipped hygiene steps, poorly trained workers, and who pays the price? The people who already live on the edge. For someone without health insurance, food poisoning is a financial disaster. The National Safety Council reports that a single ER visit for bacterial infection can run from $5,000 to $15,000. That's one bad sandwich away from bankruptcy, one bite away from losing your rent money and your medication budget. This isn't about blaming employees. It's about a system that turns survival food into a gamble. A system that asks the poorest Americans to risk their health. And in a country where even a minor hospital visit can erase everything you've built, you start to wonder, is anything safe anymore? Keep watching, because the next one will break your trust completely. Number 2, McDonald's. The place that fed your childhood starts feeding your fear now. It's our friendly McDonald's. And surprisingly, no one warns us about that. They handed you your first Happy Meal with a smile, after a long day at work. It was McDonald's you turned to. Predictable, cheap, comforting. For millions of working families, it was a promise. Even if everything else fell apart, a warm burger and fries were still within reach. But in 2025, that promise has begun to rot from the inside out. McDonald's still dominates American roadsides, with over 13,500 stores across the country. According to corporate estimates, 13 to 14 million Americans eat there every single day. That adds up to nearly 5 billion meals a year, 5 billion chances for something to go wrong. And in the last few years, things have gone wrong, more than most people realize. In 2022, a family in Illinois filed a lawsuit after their child was served undercooked chicken nuggets. Barely warm, still pink inside, just 1 year earlier. A location in Texas was caught using meat that had expired 6 months prior, covered up by relabeling and microwave reheating. Former employees have taken to Reddit and Glassdoor to tell stories that leave a sick feeling in your stomach. Using waste grease to mop floors, storing raw meat near toilets, reserving dropped food. Business Insider even published leaked photos from a Midwest franchise showing moldy buns and fly-ridden counters. Then there's the food itself. According to Harvard School of Public Health, A standard Big Mac meal can contain over 70% of your recommended daily sodium and saturated fat. Eat that regularly, and your risk of diabetes, hypertension, and heart disease skyrockets. The oil used to fry your nuggets often contains TBHQ, a preservative flagged by the FDA for potential neurotoxicity, especially harmful for children over time. But here's the cruel irony. McDonald's remains the #1 fast food choice for Americans making under $13,000 a year because it's affordable, because it's everywhere, because when you're working 2 jobs, you don't have time or money for kale bowls and oat milk. And yet, one contaminated meal can cost you everything. According to the CDC, the average hospital bill for foodborne illness ranges from $7,000 to $15,000 USD. No insurance. That bill might be the end of your savings, your rent, your home. Some say McDonald's betrayed them the moment it stopped being food and started being risky. Others just feel numb. And if even McDonald's turns its back on struggling families, who's left to protect them? Number 3, Burger King. If your burger comes with a side of rot and rodents, is it still worth the discount we used to run to Burger King after school? Grab a Whopper, peel open the wrapper like it was a gift for a few bucks. It felt like a feast, but in 2025 something's shifted, and not in a way you can see until it's already too late. Burger King still has over 7,000 stores across America, serving around 4.5 to 5.5 million meals each day. But when the food you depend on is quietly decaying behind the scenes, that dollar comes with a dangerous cost. In 2012, Burger King in the UK was caught mixing horse meat into their beef patties. 2 years later in Japan, a customer bit into a mold-covered bun so rotten it made global headlines. But the rot didn't stop there. In 2022, viral videos from Texas and Illinois showed employees pulling rotting chicken from coolers, oil so black it could no longer bubble, and rats darting across kitchen floors. In 2024, health officials shut down 2 Georgia locations, one for storing chicken below safe temperatures, the other for serving 3-day expired buns. And even if it looks clean, that burger might still be hurting you. A 2023 investigation by Consumer Reports revealed dangerously high levels of sodium, saturated fat, and preservatives in just one Burger King meal. One common additive, propylene glycol, used in antifreeze, appeared in multiple menu items. It's FDA approved in small amounts. But what happens when someone eats this 3 times a week for low-income Americans? This isn't a question of taste. A cheap hot meal seems like a gift. But according to Harvard Public Health, the poorest Americans are twice as likely to land in the ER from tainted food. A woman from Georgia shared, "We have no supermarket nearby. Burger King was our only option for something hot. Now my daughter's sick, and the hospital said we'll need to set up a payment plan." So what happens when even the king forgets the people who built its empire? Don't look away just yet. The next brand might be sitting in your fridge right now. Number 4, Chipotle. It was the fresh option in a fast food world full of grease. Brown rice, black beans, grilled chicken all served in a bowl you could feel good about. For years, Chipotle sold more than food. It sold hope that even on a tight budget, you could eat clean. And for many young American students, gig workers, office staff, it was the only meal that felt both responsible and affordable. But what if that bowl came with something invisible? Something dangerous. Chipotle operates over 3,300 locations in the United States. Each day, over 1.1 million people line up for lunch. That adds up to more than 400 million servings a year. 400 million moments where trust could be broken, and it has been repeatedly. Between 2015 and 2018, Chipotle was at the center of one of the worst food safety crises in modern U.S. history. According to the CDC, at least 1,100 people across multiple states were infected with norovirus, E. coli, and salmonella. Nearly 50 restaurants were forced to shut down during the investigations. In 2019, Chipotle paid a $25 million fine, the largest in fast casual history, for widespread food safety violations. Yet the problems didn't stop there. From 2022 through 2024, complaints flooded social media customers reporting stomach cramps, diarrhea, even finding rubber bands and plastic bits in their food. In 2023, a viral TikTok video showed rats running across a Chipotle counter in Philadelphia. The brand's signature open kitchen design, once a symbol of transparency, now looks like an open invitation for contamination. Why is this happening? Rapid expansion, poor training, overworked employees, a system designed for volume, not vigilance. And the consequences hit hardest where protection is weakest. 63% of Americans don't have even $500 saved for emergencies. A single food poisoning episode, just one contaminated bowl, can cost $5,000 to $15,000 in hospital fees for a delivery driver or part-time barista. That's enough to lose everything. One student on Reddit wrote, "I thought Chipotle was the clean one. I can't believe I got sick before finals. I missed work, missed my rent." It's not just about food anymore. It's about fear, shame, and a growing sense that even the good choices are rigged. And if the brand you trusted most ends up hurting you, what can you trust now? But brace yourself. The next name on this list might just be your child's favorite meal. Number 5, Popeyes. It smells like comfort, fried, golden, sizzling. You walk into Popeyes and it feels like home, especially in the South, where fried chicken is more than food, it's heritage. For many families, Popeyes is a weekend tradition, a break from home cooking, a treat that doesn't feel like guilt, but behind the crunch, something darker is cooking. Popeyes now operates over 2,700 stores across the U.S., serving an estimated 900 million meals each year. That's almost 1 billion chances for contaminated oil, raw poultry, and bacteria to quietly find their way into your body. And for many working-class Americans, there's no warning label, no alarm, just the same $6 combo they've trusted for years until one day, it turns against them. In 2020, a customer in Washington, D.C. bit into a chicken sandwich only to find a live cockroach. The viral video was viewed millions of times. A year later in Texas, a store was temporarily shut down after footage surfaced, showing an employee dropping raw chicken on the floor, then frying it anyway. By 2022, California health inspectors flagged multiple Popeyes locations for serious violations: undercooked meat, dirty prep tools, expired sauces. And in 2024, ex-employees took to TikTok and Reddit to reveal the reality fryers rarely cleaned. Rats near the supply room. Kitchens described as so dirty it didn't look like a restaurant. But the greatest danger isn't what you see, it's what you swallow. Reused cooking oil can create toxic compounds like acrolein and aldehydes, linked to gastrointestinal diseases and even cancer, according to Mayo Clinic and the Yocho. Who eats Popeyes? The most low-income families, essential workers, and communities of color. Why? It's filling, fast, and cheap. But when your digestive system begins to fail, or when you catch a severe bout of food poisoning, that $6 box can quickly turn into a $6,000 emergency room bill, and most of the people who suffer never even connect the dots. Popeyes was once a proud symbol of Southern flavor, but now, for many, it's a gamble between hunger and harm. It's a ritual tainted by fear. And if even your comfort food starts turning on you, how long before you stop trusting anything on your plate? The next name might be sitting on your kitchen table ready to serve, but far from safe. Number 6, Little Caesars. There was a time when $5 could still buy you dinner. Not a snack, not leftovers, but a full, hot pizza for countless working-class Americans. Little Caesars was the last promise in a world of rising prices. Hot and ready meant food was always waiting, even if your paycheck wasn't. Parents picked up a box on the way home. Students grabbed slices between shifts. Seniors stretched their fixed income to share a meal. But today, that pizza might come with more than pepperoni. With over 4,200 stores in the United States and an estimated 3.3 to 5 million customers served every day, Little Caesars reaches more than 1.8 billion people annually, and that reach brings risk. In 2020, TikTok exploded with videos showing expired ingredients used behind closed doors, pizza falling on the floor, then picked up and served, no gloves, no apology, a year later. A store in Detroit was shut down after inspectors found a dead rat in the kitchen and droppings across the prep area. In 2023, a former employee leaked photos of moldy cheese and unwashed hands in a franchise that claimed to be family safe. The risk doesn't always look dramatic, but it adds up. One slice of pepperoni pizza from Little Caesars contains over 1,300 milligrams of sodium. That's more than half the daily limit in a single bite, according to the CDC, for seniors, those with heart conditions, or low-income families without regular health care. That cheap meal could quietly erode health over months or years. And this isn't just one rogue store. The franchise model means every location runs differently: hygiene, training, oversight all vary wildly to keep prices low. Corporate cuts corners fewer staff, cheaper ingredients, rushed prep. The hot and ready promise puts pressure on workers to skip safety checks just to keep shelves full. For millions, this is the last affordable meal in their neighborhood. But what happens when even this turns toxic? A $6 pizza shouldn't cost your child a day of school due to food poisoning. A rushed lunch break shouldn't send a factory worker home with stomach cramps. A quiet dinner for a retired couple shouldn't end in bankruptcy from a hospital visit. Little Caesars was once a lifeline pizza for the people. Now, it whispers a painful truth: even the most basic meals are no longer safe from decay. And as we peel back each layer of sauce and dough, it begs the question, when did survival food become a silent threat? Number 7, Papa John's. It used to be part of the routine. Friday evening, maybe a birthday, maybe just surviving the week. Papa John's was the comfort food you could count on. The garlic dipping sauce, the pepperoncini in the corner. It wasn't just pizza, it was a moment to exhale. For working class families across the country, this was how you celebrated without overspending. One large pizza, one shared table, one sense of normalcy. But now, every delivery might carry more than just melted cheese. Papa John's operates more than 3,100 stores across the United States. Each day, between 900,000 and 1.1 million Americans place an order. That means over 400 million meals a year, each one with the potential to carry contaminated ingredients, expired dough, or unsafe food prep practices. The evidence isn't just rumors, it's documented. In 2023, a viral Reddit thread revealed rat droppings and black mold inside an Alabama Papa John's kitchen. Health officials confirmed multiple violations, including expired dough and filthy storage areas. A year earlier, a franchise in Ohio was fined after customers were served undercooked chicken wings. The kicker: employees said it was normal because washing pans took too much time under management pressure. Even the ingredients tell a deeper story. In 2021, Papa John's came under fire for using dough preservatives banned across the European Union yet still legal in US markets. And for years, videos from former staff have shown employees picking food up off the floor and putting it right back in the box. Some stores were investigated. Most stayed open. Why is this happening? Because cutting costs has become the core strategy. Over 40% of Papa John's locations report razor-thin profit margins. That means cheaper meat, lower training budgets, and less time to clean or inspect. When franchises fight to survive, safety often becomes optional. And who ends up paying? It's not just the customer, it's the whole household. For families making ends meet on under $30,000 a year, a $10 pizza used to be a celebration. Now, it's a risk. Foodborne illness in the US can cost anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000 per incident. No insurance. That's rent money. That's groceries. That's the tipping point. Papa John's used to deliver joy. Now, too often, it delivers fear. And if a pizza chain that once brought families together can no longer be trusted, what's left for people already running out of options? Get ready, what comes next might hit even closer to home. Number 8, Jack in the Box. For many in the American West, Jack in the Box is woven into the fabric of daily life. Late-night drive-thrus after high school football games, quick lunch breaks for blue-collar workers, college students scraping together just enough for tacos and curly fries. It's been the go-to spot for cheap, fast comfort food, especially in states like California, Arizona, and Texas. But with nearly 1.5 million customers every day, over 550 million meals a year, what happens when that comfort starts cutting corners? In 1993, Jack in the Box made national headlines in the worst possible way. Undercooked beef patties infected with E. coli killed 4 children and hospitalized more than 700 others. The fallout was catastrophic. The company paid nearly $100 million in lawsuits and compensation, and the tragedy still lingers in the minds of food safety experts today. Yet, decades later, the same red flags are reappearing. Between 2022 and 2023, complaints began piling up from customers in Arizona and Texas. Raw burgers, mold on buns, grease so old it turned cloudy in the fryer. Photos shared on Yelp and Reddit showed employees handling food without gloves and kitchens coated in grime. And while customers raised concerns, corporate campaigns continued pushing quirky ads and discount coupons, masking the deeper rot. The root of the issue: a system built on staying cheap at all costs. With high employee turnover and minimal food safety training, sanitation becomes a coin toss, kitchens go unchecked, ingredients get downgraded, and all the while, the people most dependent on these meals, working class families, immigrant laborers, students, are unknowingly absorbing the risks, and those risks can be fatal. According to the CDC and Healthline, the average emergency room visit for E. coli or salmonella can cost anywhere from $8,000 to $25,000. For someone without health insurance, that's enough to destroy a household's finances or worse. Jack in the Box doesn't just serve burgers, it serves over 500 million decisions a year. And when those decisions are made under pressure to save pennies, the result is a quiet crisis hitting hardest where voices are softest. Once, it was where your family grabbed a quick dinner. Now, it's where trust may be dying one order at a time. And if the burger meant to feed your kid now comes with a side of fear, what else are we letting slide in the name of convenience? Number 9, Jimmy John's. How many more lunches until someone doesn't make it home? It was the sandwich of the young and broke. Cheap, fast, and somehow always there when nothing else was. Jimmy John's became a campus staple, a downtown lifesaver. The last-minute lunch between meetings or classes for under $10. You got a full sub, a bag of chips, and the illusion of something fresh. The brand didn't just sell sandwiches, it sold speed, ease, and the promise that freaky fast didn't mean freaky dangerous. But what if it does? Jimmy John's runs over 2,600 stores across the US each day. Roughly 1.6 million people order from them. That's nearly 600 million meals a year. And when a company serving that many mouths becomes a repeat offender in food safety violations, it's no longer bad luck, it's systemic failure. From 2013 to 2019, the CDC investigated 5 separate outbreaks of E. coli, salmonella, and listeria, all traced back to contaminated sprouts served at Jimmy John's. In 2020, the FDA issued a rare formal warning, stating the brand had repeatedly engaged in practices that expose customers to serious health risks. Some stores in states like Illinois and Oregon were forced to shut down temporarily. Even worse, ex-employees began sharing what was happening behind the scenes. Leaked photos showed lunch meats left unrefrigerated for hours. Sandwiches dropped on dirty floors picked up, rewrapped, and handed off to customers. The bread might be baked fresh, but what's layered inside has begun to rot the trust people once had in the brand. And the cost far more than a ruined lunch. According to the CDC, foodborne illnesses can result in emergency room bills between $5,000 and $10,000 for someone making minimum wage. Uninsured, that's not just a bad meal, it's a crisis. Students, gig workers, and hourly employees depend on Jimmy John's because it fits their schedule and their budget. But now every bite could be a gamble. One college graduate shared, "We used to eat this after every final exam. Now I'm scared to buy it for my kid." Jimmy John's built its brand on youth, affordability, and speed. But when that speed outpaces safety, the consequences land hardest on those who can't afford to recover, and if they were warned years ago, but didn't change, how many more warnings do we need? Number 10, Checkers and Rallies. They never pretended to be fancy. No polished interiors, no gourmet slogans, just a hot burger, seasoned fries, and a soda for under $5. For many working-class Americans, especially in cities like Detroit, Atlanta, and Miami, Checkers and Rallies weren't a luxury. They were a necessity. A drive-through that stayed open late when nothing else did. A place where students, shift workers, and struggling families could grab something warm without overdrawing their bank account. But what happens when even that one comfort turns risky? With around 850 locations across the US, this chain serves between 500,000 and 650,000 people each day. That's over 200 million meals a year, most going to people who simply can't afford anything else. And yet, time and time again, the brand has made headlines for all the wrong reasons. In 2018, a viral video from a Baltimore location showed a worker grilling buns directly on a filthy kitchen floor, rats visible in the background. The footage sparked a Twitter firestorm and led to a temporary shutdown. Between 2020 and 2023, multiple health departments in Florida and Georgia filed reports about broken refrigeration systems forcing staff to thaw and cook food at unsafe temperatures. And in 2022, a leaked internal report revealed that nearly 1/3 of southern locations failed state hygiene requirements, but stayed open anyway. The reason: inflation, labor shortages, franchise chaos, and above all, profit pressure. When costs rise and oversight weakens, food safety becomes the first thing to go. Checkers and Rallies kept prices low, but the real cost was passed on to the customer. For low-income Americans without insurance, a single contaminated burger isn't just unpleasant, it's catastrophic, according to CDC estimates. An E. coli-related hospitalization can run from $3,000 to $15,000 for someone living paycheck to paycheck. That's not just unaffordable, it's unrecoverable. One exhausted father from Atlanta said, "I didn't need organic kale. I just wanted something hot and safe for my kids. Now I'm scared to drive through anywhere." Checkers and Rallies were never marketed as perfect. But when even the dirty but cheap option starts cutting corners that could send your family to the ER, it hits deeper than disappointment. It hits survival. And if this was the last $5 meal you could afford, what happens when even that is gone? If even the cheapest meals we trusted can land us in the emergency room, what exactly are we saving anymore for millions of working Americans? Fast food was never luxury, it was survival. But now, with health violations, spoiled ingredients, and crumbling standards, the betrayal feels personal. The logos didn't change, but behind the counter, something rotted. If you've ever eaten at one of these chains, share your story, warn others, because silence is how they get away with it. And in our next video, we expose the next fast food giant that might be feeding you more than you bargained for.